Dr. A, he's a visionary physician, an author, and a leader in a global movement to create health and well-being. Years ago, he graduated first in his medical school class and becoming one of the first of 10 board certified critical care physicians in the United States. Dr. A helped pioneer the field of critical care medicine before dedicating his life to transforming the way we approach health itself. I'm thankful for that because I'm part of this movement. As co-founder and independent leader of Optavia, and the creator of the Habits of Health transformational system, which is why I am healthy today. He has spent more than the last 2 decades helping millions, and that is millions with an M. And Dr. Ray, very soon it's going to be billions. Millions of people take charge of their health through lifestyle and mindset change. And that's the big one. We can, yes, we're going to help you get weight off your body. But what about changing this up here, changing our habits, implementing the day to day and the way of living? And also, if you notice, my daughter, my daughter has transformed her health because dad changed his habits. Dad changed his habits. My kids got a better dad. My wife got a better husband. My friends got a better friend. And you know, the people that I provide for get a better boss, get a better coach because I changed my habits up here. And that's what we're focused on. Now, with his upcoming, excuse me, I missed this. He's a recognized leader in lifestyle medicine and a New York Times bestselling author. Dr. A has been an early visionary in the science of metabolic health long before it entered the mainstream conversation. Now, with the upcoming release of his highly anticipated new book, My Prescription for Life, From GLP-1s to Freedom, The Path to Lasting Health Through Lifestyle Change, Dr. A reveals the truth around the value and where GLP-1 medications fit in this marketplace and the choice that you have, but also guiding its readers to determine if they're the right fit for them, but more importantly, how to use them, if so, and how to change their mindset around creating lasting optimal health. And last but not least, before Zoom gives the warmest welcome to Dr. A, through his teachings, his writings, his leadership, his content he puts out on Instagram, Dr. A continues to lead a powerful movement to move upstream from disease management and prescription writing. That's my own add in there to health creation, inspiring a new model for optimal and metabolic health for our nation and beyond. My friends, tonight, and many of you that are over on the Facebook live stream, would you guys give Dr. A warm welcome with lots of hearts emojis and in the chat? Dr. A, welcome to the family. I'm going to turn it over to you. What an honor to have you on the call tonight.
Thanks, Doug. And, I was reflecting back when you were talking about your kids, that picture of your daughter, and now, which she's such an amazing woman. She's a young woman, and just the mastery and just being surrounded by that attitude, right? That attitude, that desire, the optimal health and well-being. I mean, our kids are so ahead of the curve. You know, when I wrote Habits of Health in 2008, there's a section there where I talked about wanting to keep up with my kids. And at the time I wrote that, Erica was 8 years old. And I talked about, as they got older, being able to keep up and ski with them, uh, and not just, hey, Dad, give us your credit card, and we'll see you at the end of the day. And just last spring in April, I took Erica heli skiing with me. 18 years ago, when I wrote that, I couldn't heli ski. I didn't have the capability to heli ski. And last year, I watched her just with pure joy and confidence go out and ski with, some of the top skiers in the world on a helicopter. They're all guys and they're dropping us out. And I watched her a little nervous in the beginning. And by the last day, she was kicking everybody's ass. And the beauty of that is in here, everything we do, everything we create starts from in here. And it's so critical in the world we live in where emotional mismanagement is the leading cause of death. So at the very start, that part is so important. But the more important part than that is the decision to do it. Actually, for all of you who are on tonight, you have the capability to change your health in your life. There's no question. If I could sit one-on-one with each one of you, wherever you are at this point, one of the things I learned is that when we create optimal health for ourselves by making small incremental improvements, everything changes. So I'm going to do a real brief presentation here. Doug, can I share?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Good, awesome. So basically, Mission 3.0, it's our natural evolution. We want to create a healthy new world, basically, because that's what we do. And we've heard so much, and you've heard so much already. Well, I as one of the things I get to do is go around the world and look. In 2008, when I wrote The Habits of Health, I wrote about people living over 100. That was 2 years before the book The Blue Zone came out. And we knew that if we could go to different areas and look at what people did to live over 100, because one of the key things that's certainly not happened in the United States of America is that our health span and our lifespan are not close. In fact, what we're finding more and more, this is creeping down where people are living on in a healthy state for a long time. And to your point, Doug, they can't be good parents. They can't be good partners. They basically are drained on the medical system and they're suffering incessantly. And I spent 20 years in that world. And I can tell you, I was chasing it way down here, down at the point where people had heart attacks and strokes and all these really, really bad things that were happening to them. Bottom line is, when we were in Galicia, Spain, there was no question in my mind whether to live healthier. I interviewed a 102-year-old lady. She lived by the ocean. She basically had her friendships and friends around her. She's going in at 102, 3 times a week to a community center where she hangs out with other people her age and they do exercises together. She painted for me. Basically, as we walked the streets in the evening, people were singing, they were eating outside. I didn't see processed food anywhere. Walking up the hills, having fun, singing at night. And then I came back and flew nonstop from Madrid back to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, not to pick on Philly. But I went into the airport and basically was like going on a different planet. Chili steak, cheesesteaks, and fast food everywhere. People lounging around, watching TV, drinking to oblivion. No wonder our world is designed for that. And we've been talking about that for a long time, basically, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault until it is your fault when you know. So, what Doug's talking about and what's so critical is we've had a vision reborn. This is our moment of convergence where the mission meets the proof. And in essence, we're at a point now where we can say stuff that we could never say before. And my transformation story, and even a couple of years ago, I thought I was pretty healthy. And I decided when I wrote this book, My Prescription for Life, that Doug was talking about, I decided to wear a glucometer. Now, it was designed for diabetics, but it watches your blood sugar, so it's a direct indicator of metabolic health. And I knew that metabolic health was at the center. And this is actually before we'd even switched. I wrote the book before we even switched to this being our main focus. And so I can't tell you how happy I am tonight that we're actually doing this, because we're, as you'll hear between now and as we answer questions and listen to our incredible stories that our fellow coaches have, you're going to see something that has never happened before. 6 MAC reps. I was pretty good at them. Oh, since I started using that, and I decided, you know what, I want to make sure anything I wrote in that book was something that I had personally tested. So everything I basically ate, every time I had any stress, my sleep pattern, my exercise pattern, I followed that. And an interesting thing happened. Over the last 18 months, I've lost 20 pounds. My waist circumference is the same as it is or was when I was in high school. I literally, all that visceral fat, all that fat, which we'll talk about in a moment, is gone away. I got to walk up to Stewart Falls this time, and basically right behind the basically Adam and Gina's kids, and they're 20 years old, 25 years old, or young. And I was walking at a pace otherwise I couldn't have done before. So I know my metabolic health is dramatically better. I know I feel better than I have in years. I know I have that clarity. And I know now, because of what's gone on and what we're going to talk about, being able to restore my metabolic health is something that's going to change everything we do in 3.0. Because you're going to have the opportunity to go with people with a blue ocean strategy, no longer confusing with weight loss. Weight loss is one of the symptoms of increasing your metabolic health, but it's basically not the endpoint. The endpoint is much more than that. So basically what I've done here is just to kind of show you in the book, this is one of the sections, and this is the first section, because think of the book as being an acquisition tool. 25 to 50 million Americans right now are thinking about going on a GLP-1. This and AI are the two most talked about things in the world, and they're not sure whether to go or not. And 10 million more are on it, and many more million have gone on it and had poor results. Some of them had good results, but without having a guide, having a coach, having a system, their chances, just by taking the shot, aren't great. Now, with you as a coach, it becomes incredible for them, which we'll talk about. But the first part is breaking. I had an Italian artist do watercolors for these because I asked him, I said, if this book is, on Amazon or at a bookstore at the airport, I want people to look at it and you can read it in a day or two. It's not like The Habits of Health, which is your guide for the rest of your life. This is just a way of really starting to understand. And if you're thinking about going on a GLP-1, this puts you in position. And now you, as you read this, you're going to be there so that any doctor that writes a script for a GLP-1 medicines, Ozempic, or any of them, basically they also should give this prescription along with it to make sure that they're being optimized by your being their coach and having a community and having the products in the system. And I'm going to show you in a moment why that's so important. So here's the deal. In that toxic world that we just showed, we're running on autopilot. We're sleeping poor. We have emotional mismanagement. Our attention's hijacked. And as a result, our insulin levels going up. And if I compare that to the world I was in 20 years ago when Doug was talking about I was a critical care physician, bottom line is we know now, and you're going to know right now that you know more than most physicians. Because most physicians are still using fasting blood sugar. In other words, they say don't eat overnight. In the morning, we're going to take your blood sugar. And if your blood sugar is less than 100, they go, yep, you're good. The reality is when your blood sugar goes up, you're way downstream and you're starting to have bad things happen to your body. 5 to 10 years before your blood sugar goes up, your insulin levels going up as a result of eating this unhealthy food, by being stressed, by not sleeping well, by basically having inflammation and all the stress that comes with everyday life. Here's the reality. You get metabolic syndrome, and then the health crisis grows in the soil are things such as obesity and type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease and chronic kidney disease and cancers and cognitive decline. All those things that I was treating down here so far downstream are all caused by the same problem, metabolic dysfunction. And now you as coaches have the ability, our goal is over the next 10 years is to eliminate chronic disease to the point where we are now getting people metabolically healthy way upstream from before they have these things that can happen to them. And a great example is liver. Fatty liver basically used to be only with alcoholics, and now non-fatty liver, we've actually changed it, and the first name in it is metabolic steatohepatitis, because it is caused by too much fat getting in the liver, and then as resistance gets worse and worse, you start building scarring and metabolic changes that cause cirrhosis. I mean, I've been in those livers many, many years, and we opened them up, and they look terrible. They look like an old witch, all nodules and stuff all over them, this ugly color, and not that beautiful purple that only I could say is sexy. Because the liver, when it's smooth and purple, it's nice. Otherwise, it's not so much. So the real enemy isn't health, isn't weight. It's metabolic dysfunction, and 9 out of 10 Americans are affected by it. In fact, 9 out of 10 deaths in the United States are a direct cause of metabolic dysfunction. And the 10th one, accidents, is probably actually caused partially by metabolic dysfunction as well. People not sleeping well, getting in a car, falling asleep, being in a brain fog, not paying attention, being malaise, distracted. So basically, every single person you come in contact with, our story is much bigger. Our basically mission is much bigger. The audience is much bigger. And you are in position, as you are a health coach, to help people optimize their metabolic health. It's a hell of a time to be us. Here's the deal. All the time before this, it's been about the great loss game. And we were in Vegas this summer, and every time I go there, it's just more incredible. These casinos, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah with these palaces. And I think, God, where are they getting the money? They're getting the money, people hoping to get rich quick. People using diets basically may have an early win. The scale may move down, but the house always wins. Reality will set in. You're going to lose muscle, regain weight, and that cycle continues to repeat itself. The bottom line is the weight loss revolution is
Hey,
happening.
Dr. A,
Yeah.
we lost your slide. It just says Zoom on there now. You might want to
Oh,
stop
really?
right there. Yeah,
Okay, let me redo. Sorry about that.
we got your text up now.
Okay, let's get that. Let's get that back. Let me see. Share. Weight loss. Is that back?
There we go. You're back.
Thanks, buddy. Awesome. So basically, again, that's a juicy looking cheeseburger, and don't lie, I have them occasionally. but I still don't live on them day in, day out. And I, by the way, I take the bread off and I put lettuce on it. I go animal style, right? As they say. And the reality is this weight loss revolution is happening, as I mentioned, and so many people are looking at it right now. What we want to do is be able to come alongside that and have people understand that the GLP-1 drugs can quiet the noise of hunger, but they cannot build the music of health. In fact, they are, in some ways, just part of the great loss game. They curb appetite and promise quick fixes, but the truth is sobering. Up to 40% of that loss is lean mass, unless they have a coach and they have our system with them. And if you think about it, metabolic health is determined by your muscle. Now, looking at Doug 15, 16 years ago, you could see he didn't have a lot of muscle. He's a big guy. Now he's all muscle. And what muscle does, I mean, you don't have to be at that level, but you do need to be metabolically fit and have muscle. Muscle absorbs glucose. So on those times when you do decide to have something that may have more sugar in it than you like it, your muscle, when you have great muscle, it can absorb that. And muscle is the number one determinant of longevity. So if you're on these medicines and you're not working with a coach in our system in the habits, health, and healthy motion and using our protein sources, basically 40% means that even though during that metabolic window you're getting healthier, once you gain your weight back, now your body composition has changed. That's why, we basically talk about, in fact, right here, somewhere right here, where is it? Right here. Yeah, basically last weekend, I went and we're talking about this. You need to get this done. You need to get your metabolic composition done, because your body composition done, because it's so important to know that you're in here for the long haul. We're going to be focusing on our metabolic health for the rest of our lives. And so to be able to, and especially if you're going to GLP-1, you need to know that you're basically working with a coach and working with our system, because if not, there's a really good chance that you'll lose muscle. The other part is 74% of people come off, 2/3 regain their weight. So we want to make sure that if they are using these drugs, they're using them as a proper tool. So that's really part of the great game. The great game is becoming a healthy person so that you're not looking saying, oh, I can't have pizza because I have to deny myself. No, the reason why you're not having pizza because there's 100 other things that are more important in your life, including your family, as Doug was talking about, including our health, including being able to be successful in the things we want. And bottom line is eating unhealthy food, we know, is a harbinger for long-term dysfunction. Gaining confidence and shaping our future and our metabolic health. All these things are critical. And we've always helped people break the cycle. Basically, we've always protected lean muscle, built health, sustainable habits, and lasting metabolic health. But we need to change our identity, because weight loss, unfortunately, is what people focus on rather than on metabolic health. So this is what Doug was talking about. Basically, over the last several months, we've been targeting metabolic science and putting in position to truly make a difference. Now, I need to spend just a moment on this because it's really important. Most of you know about this by now, but your abdominal muscles separate your visceral fat from your subcutaneous fat. Subcutaneous fat in itself is really important for us. It keeps us insulated. It puts us in position to be able to mobilize. It helps build our endocrine, our hormones are all made from that. But that fat is coming from the subcutaneous fat, which is healthy fat. And we basically, if we need more of that, we can increase it by making more fat cells. But the fat cells stay little, they stay healthy. Unfortunately, the fat cells inside your viscera, inside around your organs and in your liver, they can't grow by making more fat cells because there's no room in there. So they just start getting bigger. It's called hypertrophy. And they get bigger and bigger and bigger, like a balloon overstretched, like a overstuffed ravioli. And bottom line, when that happens, there's no blood supplies to them. They can't get blood because they're so far away from the capillaries. So what do? They send out an SOS, a five basically alarm fire, trying to make more vessels. It's called pro-inflammation. It's cytokines and these things that are get released by your body, which stimulate making more blood vessels. The problem is they go out and they create this massive inflammation inside your vessels, in your heart, in your liver, in all your organs, in your brain. It's what leads to that metabolic quicksand that ends up being a stroke or a heart attack or cancer or basically cognitive decline. They're all related to this. So imagine if we can decrease that, if we can selectively target that, what happens? And that is, in essence, how you improve metabolic health. You target visceral fat. And when you do that, you increase insulin sensitivity and you reduce inflammation. So we know if 90% of Americans have it, it's driven by poor lifestyle, it's silent and progressive. Most people don't know they have it for years. Well, the symptoms I'm going to show you in a minute, there's some vague symptoms that can let you know that you do have it, and we can help you do something about it. But it affects your hormones and your mood, and it's time for a wake-up call. So here's the deal. This is the first term that's so critical for all of you listening, whether you're coaches, clients, or you're thinking about it. We now own this. We are masters of metabolic synchronization. And we now have extricated from our studies, these double-blind studies that are best in class. We actually asked the FDA and the FTC, what do you want to see in a study that becomes bulletproof? And so in brilliance, that's what we did. This is a study that says we can reverse metabolic dysfunction. We need to say three things with it. Reducing visceral fat, 14% reduction of that bad fat I told you about. Preserving lean muscle, 98% retention of lean muscle. That's in contrast to what can happen with the GLP-1 drugs if they don't have a coach in the system with them, and maintaining and protecting healthy muscle. So from day one, we're actually dramatically improving all aspects of metabolic health. And basically, as we move into Mission 3.0, healthy habits remain at the center, as Doug said, all four components, our habits of health, our coaches, our community, and our products for long-term metabolic health. But here's the cool thing for our coaches, and why, if you're listening, why you want a coach. With a coach in our community in the habits of health, clients are more successful than without. They lose 10 times more weight, 17 times more fat, and 98% retention of their body mass. How unbelievable is that? That stands in its own. We're the only ones that can say that. Now, I'm just going to mention this briefly. This is happening next year, but I wanted to make the point. The company is basically evolved now where they're behind us and they're focusing on being the leaders in metabolic health, metabolic synchronization. And they're actually redesigning and now improving and upgrading and then putting new products that help support all the key aspects of things that we can put in our fuelings that help maximize metabolic health. So we're going to be moving for the next 10 years, as Doug said, in position to be in this blue ocean. The red ocean strategy, yes, we talk about optimal health and well-being, but it always seems it gets lost in weight loss. Now we're the leaders in metabolic optimization, and with our products, with you as the coach, and with the systems, we're going to be in great shape. So the future of health is coming into focus right now. It includes obviously our 5-in-1, the Habits Health Community and Coach, which unlocks ultimate metabolic health. We're the North Star. Everything you've done matters. We're just getting better at it. We now are able to have a story that stands by itself, unique to the marketplace. And here's the thing. In this book, I wrote this book a year and a half before we basically it switched to metabolic health. But in it, I put this down because metabolic synchronization, and I did it in a generic form because in the very beginning, before they're even exposed to optimization using our mission and our focus, they can look at these are the 6 key macro habits that you all know so well that they can read about. Each one of these is critical, and working on each one of these improves your metabolic health. So it doesn't just last 16 weeks, but 16 years, but also a lifetime. And you look and say, well, how can optimizing your mindset? Doug touched on it. When you are stressed, your insulin level goes up immediately. So if you're stressed every day long and you haven't developed something as simple as stop, challenge, and choose to help you work through it, you're in worse shape and you're going to be suffering metabolic dysfunction. We can help at every level, and you guys already know so much of this. You're now putting it in with a new language and putting it in a way that you can say it in a way. You don't have to know the science. That's what I need to do. That's what Satya needs to do. You guys need to know what the language is so you can get people's attention and then bring them in so you can help them do what you already do best, which is help people change their lives. So the future of health won't be written by prescription. It'll be written by those who decide to change, make their choices, their biology, and their lives. And basically, if you look at it, optimal metabolic health from the great loss game, which is the old paradigm of weight loss and loss of muscle and regaining fat, the yo-yoing and cyclical dieting, we're the new great, basically, gain game, which is about creating health, protecting muscle, gaining energy, and optimizing metabolic health. So this is the new tool. Think of it as being an acquisition and a support tool for you. It's a primer. It's real easy. They can read it in a couple of days. It's about taking people that are candidates, having them know that you can help them. If they're becoming clients now, knowing they can read this to get started, they can read it in a day or two, knowing that you're going to help them in more detail, go into the habits of health when they're ready for it. And basically, I'm going to put this as well as being for the lay public. I'm going in the studio, Doug, in a couple of weeks to do the audio, and we'll put it up so it'll be in your basically your app for people to use, just like the Habits of Health. But it's all about metabolic health, and our goal. And I want to show this slide because this really puts things into perspective. So if you think about where we were before, were people wondering, do I have metabolic dysfunction? Well, 90+% of people have metabolic dysfunction. The earlier signs, so now you can use this to check. Do you have fatigue or low energy, sugar or caffeine cravings, brain fog, poor concentration, stubborn belly fat starting to appear, middle stages, mood swings, poor sleep, blood pressure going up, frequent urination in late stages, skin tags. I don't know if you've noticed, but people have these tags around their neck or kind of a discoloration. That means their insulin level is high. They have insulin resistance. I mean, I don't say you should say that the first thing to them. You want to be kind to them and start with how you doing today? But the point is, so many signs, early signs before we get to the really bad things where they have fatty liver, where they have all the other things going on. And so now you can look at this and help them understand. This is what the susceptibility basic questions are, which are also in here in a form, so that they can understand, yes, I do have metabolic. So from the day one, they know that you're not just going to help them lose weight, you're going to focus on their metabolic health. So in closing, Doug, this is our moment to lead, to become the champions of metabolic health. And here's the reality. Basically, yes, we are going out around the world. We're finding where the people live the longest, the healthiest. We're taking those and incorporating. We're taking the latest research, putting it into studies that we can reproduce. We're able to say things now like, it lowered my blood pressure, it lowered my cholesterol, it improved my type 2 diabetes, and bottom line, it improved my insulin resistance. So in this decade, starting right now, where science meets purpose, metabolic synchronization is more than a science, it's a bridge. And together we can walk people across it into the future of real sustainable health. There you go.
Dr. A, thank you. A couple comments, and then I want to go to Alex. You guys got to hear Alex's story. It's powerful. And then Summer, and then Dr. A. I've got a couple questions for you to really, as we wrap this up. I was having a big aha because again, I chose to do this 16 years ago. The what you described, it's very simple. I mean, you're going to be eating every 2 to 3 hours. You're going to be feeling great. We're going to take you, we got the weight off my body. Obviously, my medications went down off and then transitioned back up to where I'm a healthy, fit person today. In fact, I got so passionate about it this past year, I wanted to open a gym for some people here in Scottsdale. And what's interesting is only 10% of the nation will walk into a gym. It's too intimidating. Where I was before working with you, I wouldn't go into a gym. I was eating in private. I was secretly dieting. I was ashamed. I was like, I'm gonna try again on Monday. I was sad. I was frustrated. I was limping into church on Sunday, trying to say the right things, do the right things, but deep down inside, I was falling apart because the embarrassment and the shame, not just what was going on inside of my body, but on the outside of my body. And that's what excites me is that if 9 out of 10, well, the sad part is 9 out of 10 Americans are suffering with metabolic dysfunction, early signs of it. The good news is our program, this is our sweet spot. It is to do from your own home. You do not have to walk into a gym. You do not have to work with a personal trainer. We're going to have you get your body moving. We're going to teach you healthy movements early on in your journey, but you don't have to walk into a gym. We can eliminate that fear. We're going to do the simple things and we're going to do it well while changing your habits through Dr. A's Habits of Health. And it is a complete transformation and a complete reset. And so the program is very simple. I might be leaving you with more questions and answers, but the program is simple. That's the how. The what we're doing here is, do we want to get healthy? Are we ready to take personal responsibility for our health? Are we ready to take action? And for some of you, are you ready to actually swim upstream with us? Because I know tonight there's a lot of online fitness coaches, there's trainers, there's people, and people really won't follow the macro meal prep thing. It's complicated. It can get hard, and it's a key part of our journey, the healthier that you get. But people just need something simple. They need something that they can do. They need a plan that they can follow. They need their meals kind of made for them and just simple. So we have made it so simple, and that's the exciting part. Before I go back to
Yeah,
you,
before
Dr.
you go
A,
on there,
oh,
I just want to say this.
yeah, go
So
ahead.
here's, I hadn't thought about it in a while, but you just talked about fat prejudice, right? And bit sensitivity. There's a whole section in optimizing your mind. So if you have someone that's suffering from that, they can actually go in my prescription for life. And there's a whole section. I actually tried to think about all that so that, you know what, in the beginning, we can't do it all for them, but if they can read and we can awaken them, we have all the book was written to all the things that you could be thinking or feeling, and we have the solution for all those. And so the beauty of that is now people can, in little incremental steps, change everything. And we're here as a community, an empathetic community. And all of that basically sets up for exactly what you just said. So we want to be able to reproduce it with tools, and then we can just be ourselves and ask questions and really find out how we can personally help them. It's so critical.
Yeah, because we have the tools, and our best people that end up coaching others are the ones who experience the wins for themselves. And
Yeah.
speaking of that, someone who's done that this past year, Alex, I want you to come on. I want you to share your story. And while you're talking, I'm going to also show a picture of you because you are completely, your whole family's changing, your husband's changing, everything about you is changing out there in Colorado. So please share.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you for having me. And I love, love, love everything that this program is about and everything that it's done for me in my health. 7.5 years ago, probably similar to many of you, I saw somebody on Facebook talking about the transformation of their life, and I reached out. And I lost 55 pounds in 4.5 months and felt incredible. And my ego took over, and I gained every single pound back. And I'm going to go in a little bit of detail about that here shortly. But the picture that Doug just put up was just from a year ago, you guys. And I swore up and down that I would never let anyone see that photo because I purposely took it to really show where I was at. And I was so frustrated because we have this incredible program in front of us, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. Does that sound familiar to anybody on the Zoom? I had messed up my metabolism because I kept going in and out and in and out and in and out of 5 and 1, probably 573 times. I was binge eating constantly, and I was crying myself to sleep, and I felt like the biggest hypocrite on the planet. But let me be very clear. This wasn't my coach's fault. This wasn't the nutrition's fault. This wasn't Dr. A's fault. This wasn't Optavia's fault. It was my fault. And let me be clear that I wanted to blame all of those things, right? Because that's easier. That's living in comfort. It's so much easier to point the finger at everything else than actually doing the work on yourself. And I lived in that for a very, very long time. So I had to go and do some of the real head and heart work. And thank God for Optavia, because we have so many tools at our disposal. And we embrace them, and we can move forward. So we embraced GLP, which is the weight loss injections. And I started on the GLP medication. And I'm not going to lie, I took full advantage of the GLP medication and played around for a while to see what it would do for me, because I was still not stuck. I kind of did suck, but I was stuck in a negative headspace, and I was stuck in diet mentality still. So I educated myself. I did the work on my head and my heart. I got into therapy, and I dove into GLP and our send line. I was done, as Doug and Dr. A were talking about, with the counting of macros. I could not eat another tuna packet. Anybody else out there? Like, I was like, please, Jesus, no more tuna. Ascend came out, and it changed all of my perspective, because once again, we had a tool, an easy grab and go component that we could add to our program, and we could move forward with getting the correct amount of protein that we need, specifically when you're on a GLP. I had to recognize that I had to quit playing small and that nothing grows in the comfort zone. And I lived there for way too long. Excuses? I've got them. I could probably give you a few. Addiction? Yep, that's me. But this is about so much more than me, you guys. This is about showing up as the mom that I want to be, and showing up as the wife I want to be, and showing up as the woman that other people strive to be. I want to show up for the moms and the sisters and the wives that are out there doing that feel like they have no other purpose but to survive. The GLP and the Ascend program has completely given me my life back. It's given me permission to show up as a normal human. I no longer binge eat. I no longer eat a meal only to think about the next meal. I have normal portion sizes. And because of our Ascend line, I eat the protein I need. And I exercise and I do the things that old Alex wouldn't do because old Alex lived in the easy and she lived in the comfort. And now that I got out of my own way, and thanks to our Ascend program, here's my statistics as of today. I have lost 60 pounds. I have lost 36 pounds of pure fat. I have preserved 94% of my lean mass. And in a nutshell, that means that our program prioritizes fat burn and protects our metabolism extremely well. I'm 46 years old and I am in the best health of my life. Thank you so much for letting me share. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you, Alex. Dr. A, before I go to Summer and then we wrap up with a question or two, anything you want to speak to that? Because it sounds like Alex has followed your prescription for life almost to a T because she's changed her habits.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's exactly right. And, because she has in the background, she lived in the shadow of Optavia, she had all the tools. She just needed to have the right things in place to help her. And basically, why fast food is so successful? Because it's easy and we can do it on the go, right? When 24 years ago, we didn't have any healthy go products. We just had the shakes. That's all we had. So that was one of the first things even back then. But now with the Ascend line, we're addressing. It's very hard when you're on a GLP-1 drug because you're just not that hungry to get enough protein, like eating a lunch of meat and chicken and fish. So what's nice and what she's approaching is that because this tool allows you to get 20 plus grams of protein, you're actually able to on the go and still eat as you need to, but make all the changes. And all those subtlety things that she wasn't ready to do, now they're in a line with what's important to her. And she now knows that her identity, she's increasing her standards every single week. She's getting better at the little things. And together, that's how we change to a new identity, a new healthy identity that she's creating is by every week just increasing just a little bit. You don't have to have massive breakthroughs. You have to make a decision to do it, but then it's incrementally get a little better. Get rid of a habit of disease and add a habit of health. Make it harder to do the things that are unhealthy and make it easier to do the things that are healthy. And so the Ascend for Alex represents one of those things that made it easy for her. So she didn't have to, do all that preparation. And I can identify with that because I live alone and preparation in a brownie every morning. And by the way, Doug, just before we go to Summer, I have a brownie every morning. I still do because I know with my glucometer that my blood sugar doesn't go up. I get to finish that morning, have my coffee and my brownie. I love it. Boom, I'm ready for the day. So it's convenient. I'll be doing it for the rest of my life. And to your point, I just built a new gym. You helped me get the proper equipment in it. And bottom line is now I do an active. I do an active right in that process because I want to use leucine and stimulate my muscle. So bottom line is metabolic health uses all of our tools, puts them together, and is a metabolic coach, basically a health coach that functions in metabolic optimization. We're now in position to have a whole bunch of new stories that people will identify with.
I love that. I love that. Summer, before I go to you, I just have to clean up. Some of you guys are like, did Dr. A just say he eats a brownie every morning for breakfast? Yes, it is a balanced brownie with the right amount of carbs, proteins, and
Yeah, it's
sugar.
low
Some
glycemic.
are
It's one of
plain.
our
It's a low
brownies. Yeah,
glycemic brownie.
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
that's
That's a
part of the
good point,
fun.
Doug. That's a good point.
That's part of the
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Summer, your story is completely different. And as we wrap up here, and then I'm going to ask the coaches to stay on because I have a few questions for Dr. A about where we're going as a movement. But Summer, go because it's completely different than Alex.
It is, and I'm grateful to be able to share it. I just put a one in the chat if you were a yo-yo dieter, if you would call yourself a yo-yo dieter. I would say that I was the person that tried everything under the sun, and I actually was not going to do this program. I was like, nope, nothing works for me. This girl, it works out 2 hours a day. And honestly, I starved myself to try to keep my weight off. I also will tell you that I have lost thousands of pounds because I would lose it, gain it, lose it, gain it, lose it, gain it. I did this dance. I also, at the time when I was trying to get healthy and didn't know how to do it, I had to work out 2 hours a day and I had to starve myself. Doug, I think you have a picture of me, and I don't know if you could pull this picture up, but if you look at that woman on the left, that was me. Do you see the dark circles around my eyes? And at that time, I would tell you that I was healthy-ish. You see the big wine glass in front of me? Well, every night when I came home from those long hours of work, that was my go-to. I didn't eat food. I actually drank wine and, well, ate chocolate. I don't know if that's food. And then do you see the right picture? Is me with my husband just a couple weeks ago. And right now we're in the battle of our lives. And actually, if you would look at that picture before, I would have said we were in the battle of our lives at that time too. It just was a different battle. Right now, he's fighting stage 4 prostate cancer. But do you see the difference in us? I believe that this program helps us to shine. And what I mean by that is when you actually embrace getting healthy, there's a new part of you that literally radiates. Because I didn't just get healthy in my body, because that's what I had done before. But my mindset was so unhealthy. My relationships were so unhealthy. Mike and I were on the brink of divorce. And now we're like newlyweds. We're so passionately in love. And what's beautiful about what we get the opportunity to do through this program is help people heal, not just metabolically, but also mentally, emotionally, relationally. That's this program has radically changed my life. I've been a part of this program for 11 years, and I don't regret not one of them. I have learned how to fuel my body properly, but also to think of myself properly. It has helped me with this self-talk that was my biggest enemy. And some of you on here, you think that you're on here to check out a diet or a plan or what's next. I'm telling you, maybe this is the lifeboat that you've been looking for that's going to help you renew your mind, transform your life, and allow you to be the wife, the husband, the friend, the partner that you've always wanted to be. So I would just encourage you. I was the biggest skeptic. Doug is my coach. He knows I was probably one of the most difficult clients on the planet. But I am forever grateful that I decided to take a leap and just jump. And I jumped in head first. I actually became a client and a coach a couple days apart. And I'm forever grateful because one thing that I did share on Facebook recently was we were able to pay cash for my husband's treatments recently, and that was about $250,000. And that's because of the gift of coaching. So, Dr. A, thank you. Doug, thank you. Back to you.
Wow, you're welcome. Summer, you chose because you sat on a call like this 11 years ago. You and Mike chose to say, you know what, enough is enough. I want to coach. I'm ready to get back in the game of life, and you guys have taken personal responsibility. So you were prepared, better prepared for the storm that you've been in right now. So anyway, our love and support and this community. Now that you all know, we're praying with you, and Mike's gonna have full healing. Uh, I'm going to bring Dr. A. Dr. A, Dan, let's bring Dr. A back on the screen. Dr. A, I've got a couple questions. And for those of you that logged on, just like, who are you guys? Hopefully you got just an understanding of the heart, first of all, of Dr. A and what he left critical care to swim upstream and just really get on the front lines. And Dr. A is on the front lines with us every day. T and I have been a part of this incredible mission, your mission, Dr. A, for the last 16 years. And I can tell you what, now with this newfound science and data, the need, I would like to say, I know when I joined you years ago, it was like, we're going to get America healthy. We've helped 3.5 million people. We're losing ground. America is not healthy. But I actually just got a message from Erica, and I put on my Instagram story, like, hey, going live with Dr. A. And she's like, you got this. And I'm like, well, I'd like to get your dad a little more time. He's on the front lines out here, but you've been on the front lines with us and you're not slowing down. And so thank you. And for those of you that we left you with more questions than answered, reach out to the person who invited you. We would love to just sit down. They'll have a one-on-one Zoom call. We're here to serve you, but more than anything, take action, do something, because your family needs you. If you're not going to do it for yourself, your kids and your family need you. Dr. A, a couple questions for you for the coaches that are staying on for this part. Um, what does it really mean? Uh, we're just thinking, like, what does it mean for this new opportunity in terms of like opportunity right now? What is our advantages over the next, right, like for those that take action right now?
Yeah, and you heard me say it a couple times before, Doug, but we talk about red ocean versus blue ocean. So a red ocean means it's full. The space is so occupied by so many players that it's really hard to stand out. And the blue ocean means basically you stand out because no one's talking the same way. And we've always been that way. We've always talked, optimal health and well-being, no, not prevention, creating health. But the reality is now, metabolic health, the word metabolic flexibility, those words are being thrown around out there, but nobody really knows what it means and they don't really understand it. So for our coaches, our audience just dramatically improved. Second of all, our language, ability to make claims. I mean, we can now say because our company went ahead and did it the right way, the study that we did, bottom line, put us in position because we went to the FTC and the FDA and said, hey, if you design a study, what makes a study what you're looking for? So we retrofit that and did a study based on what they wanted. So our coaches can now say 4 things we could never say before. It lowered my blood pressure. It lowered my cholesterol. It improved my type 2 diabetes and it improved my insulin sensitivity. That is if 90+% of the world has insulin resistance, we just made a claim that other people can't make, that our metabolic synchronization, we can reverse metabolic dysfunction. And it's shown by us showing in beginning within 4 months, we're going to drop your visceral fat, this nasty stuff, this harbinger of disease. We're going to drop it 14%. We're going to protect. If you go on the GP1s, they can help, especially if you're really, really addicted to processed food, but use our program with it. My goodness, you're going to protect 98% of your muscle because you're eating the right, but just like Alex, basically, she's getting 20 grams of protein every time she has one. Bottom line is putting her in position to work with a coach, to work on her movement, to do the things that are necessary. Everything we do, and just to the point of metabolic health, I know this. I use now all our program. The 5-in-1, basically during the day, my brownie for breakfast, even when I'm not in the weight. And here's the biggest one. Before we were considered weight loss. If you lost your weight, well, bye-bye, we're done with you. No. At whatever, whether you're 20 years old or 80 years of age, you can continue to improve your metabolic health. And we know and can make the claim with a coach right from the beginning, we help you lose more weight, 10 times more. We help you lose preferentially fat, targeted fat burn 17 times more. And we're going to protect your muscle. And we're going to teach you the things that take you to ultra health so that you can stay healthy for the rest of your life. And so where we are now, and for the coaches, just to know, the language they need to know is metabolic synchronization. Metabolic flip, just a moment on that. I didn't really talk about that. But, reset, there's kind of some things like what we can and can't say. Metabolic flip, you can say. Metabolic flip means I've now taught you how to move between fuel sources. People that are overweight, by the way, if your insulin is up, you cannot burn fat. When your insulin level is high, you cannot burn fat. Your insulin level has to go low. We actually create that metabolic flip. Why does the 5-in-1? Why after 4 days do you feel so good, have so much energy? Cravings for carbohydrates went away because you dropped your insulin out. And now you're perfectly using that visceral adiposity as an energy source, and it's unlimited. So we're creating metabolic optimization. We've always done it. I've been talking about it now for 20 plus years, but now we can make the claim. So Doug, now in the three, but here's the most important part from 2.0 to 3.0. 3.0 started a week ago. We learned some things a couple months ago, but last weekend at Sundance, 3.0 World started. 3.0 World, I know, and you remember in the companion guide or the companion guide for the first habits of health, I had Seymour, my buddy, draw a picture of a guy in a lake, up to his nose, right, holding a 40-pound rock, struggling. The rock are his concepts, the things that are wrong, why I can't do it, all this blah, 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 blah. He's struggling like this, and right ahead of you, right above him, is the path to optimal health and well-being. Well, the path to optimal metabolic health is right over our head. All we got to do is look up it and drop the rock. That's what 3.0, we drop the rock. Whatever was, oh my, whoa, this happened, that happened, doesn't matter. None of it matters. When we talk from the beginning, everybody on the line can create optimal metabolic health. It will take different times for different people. But if you focus on where you're going, and the two most important leadership habits are lead from that future and just start saying no to everything that's not taking you where you want to go. And the second one, become the dominant force in your life. And whatever people say, oh, you're doing that or doing that. No, I've made a decision. You heard two incredible coaches. I mean, Summer's story, I remember meeting her the first time, Doug, in your kitchen. And she was a sommelier and she was drinking wine. And she now has become an incredible spokesman. She's kind of like, I hope this doesn't alienate anybody, but she's kind of like Charlie Kirk's wife, trained for battle, trained to go out and help people change their health, and an inspiration to women all over the world. What they're going through right now, the way they're handling, I had a chance to spend time with Mike as well. They are people that have been seasoned in the battle of life, have the psychological flexibility, have us to support them, and they are surrounded by people where they're more in love than they've ever been. That is a testament to what we do.
Dr. A, thank you. You took my last question because I wanted to know what it was like moving from 2.0 to 3.0, but I think you summed that up great. Thank you for serving us tonight. And coaches, it is our time. We are fit for battle. 234 million Americans right now suffering that need you. Will you lead the way? Will you be the leader in your community? Will you be the leader in your church? There's a lot of people in the faith community leading spiritually. But every single faith community and church I go into, I see a lot of metabolic dysfunction and a lot of hurt and a lot of pain in their eyes. Will you be that one that steps up? Will you be that one that changes the conversation from we're bringing donuts to maybe we're bringing something healthier? Maybe the conversation doesn't have to be around food. We need more people on the front lines. And if you hung on the line tonight and you're like, man, where are you guys going? What does this look like? We need you. There's a lot of people hurting. Our company, we're publicly traded, we're healthy, we're fit, we are fit for battle. But we do need more coaches because there's a strong need out there, and they won't walk into their local Orange Theory. They won't walk into their local gym. They don't know who to talk to. So it's been an honor serving you tonight. Dan, thanks for hosting the back end. Dr. A, Summer, Alex, keep going, keep pioneering, and the rest of the coaches. What an honor to be together with so many of you in the United States. And I know many of you actually tuning in from around the world because we are going around the world very, very soon. It's been an honor to partner with you tonight. Have a great night, everybody.